morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great pleasure to welcome you all to the third International Conference on Mangroves for Sustainability, ICMS 2025, organized by the Center for Environmental Studies and Sustainable Development of the Open University of Sri Lanka in collaboration with leading national and international partners. This year's conference, held under the timely and impactful theme, Mangroves for a Sustainable Future, Biodiversity, Climate Resilience, and Blue Economy, brings together a global network of scientists, researchers, conservationists, policymakers, industry professionals, and community leaders.
Over the next few days, we will delve into the critical importance of mangroves ecosystems, the nature's resilient guardians of the coast, that not only protect our shorelines, but also sustain the biodiversity, sequester carbon, support fisheries, and provide livelihoods to countless coastal communities. This conference program features a rich array of sessions covering topics such as mangroves biodiversity and ecosystem services, climate resilience, the sustainable ecotourism, innovative restoration technologies, and the growing relevance of blue carbon in economic and environmental policies.
ICMS 2025 aims to serve as a dynamic platform for sharing groundbreaking research, practical experiences, and policy insights while fostering meaningful dialogue and collaboration among experts and institutions. Together, we hope to pave the way for science-based, community-driven, and policy-supported actions that will secure the future of mangrove ecosystems in Sri Lanka and across the globe. We thank you for your participation and invite you to engage fully in what promises to be an inspiring and impactful conference.
Today's conference brings together a distinguished gathering of scholars, researchers, and the dignitaries who have contributed immensely to the fields of environment, marine biology, and the sustainable development. At this moment, it's my pleasure to warmly welcome our distinguished attendees, the chief guest, Senior Professor PMC Tilakaratna, the Vice Chancellor of the Open University of Sri Lanka, today's guest of honor, Senior Professor S. Bijoy Nandan, former Vice Chancellor of Kannur University and the Dean of the Faculty of Management Marine Sciences at Cochin University of Science and Technology, India, Honorary Professor Kathiresan Kandasamy, the Conference Chair and the Honorary Professor at the Center of Advanced Study in Marine Biology, Annamalai University, India, Professor Sewandi Jayakodi, Chair Professor of the Department of Aquaculture and Fisheries, Faculty of Livestock Fisheries and Nutrition, Wayamba University of Sri Lanka, Dr. K.H.M.L. Amaralal, the Deputy Director General of the National Aquatic Resources Research and Development Agency, NARA, Senior Professor Shama Veerakon, the Director of the Research Unit of the Open University of Sri Lanka.
We are also privileged to welcome all the deans of the faculties of the Open University of Sri Lanka, the Director of the Postgraduate Institute of English, the Director of CESSD, the Registrar, the Bursar, the Director of IT, our esteemed authors, all conference staff members, and each and every one of you who have taken the time to join us here today. Let's put our hands together and give a big round of applause for ICMS 2025 Mangroves for Sustainability.
As we commence today's proceeding, now I would like to invite all of you to rise from your seats and pay honor to our national anthem.
Thank you all. Now I would like to invite our distinguished guest to kindly take part in the ceremonial lighting of the oil lamp, symbolizing the light of knowledge and wisdom. For that, it is our great honor to invite Senior Professor P.M.C. Tilakaratna, our Chief Guest and Vice Chancellor of the Open University of Sri Lanka, Senior Professor S. Bijoy Nandan, today's guest of honor, former Vice Chancellor of Kannur University and the Dean of Faculty, Marine Sciences at Cochin University of Sri Lanka of Science and Technology, India, Honorary Professor Kathiresan Kandasamy, Conference Chair and Honorary Professor, Center of Advanced Study in Marine Biology, Annamalai University, India, Professor Sevandi Jayakodi, Chair Professor, Department of Aquaculture and Fisheries, Faculty of Livestock Fisheries and Nutrition, Vayamba University of Sri Lanka, Senior Professor Shama Veerakon, Director, Research Unit, the Open University of Sri Lanka. Dr. K.H.M.L. Amaralal, Deputy Director General, Research and Development, National Aquatic Resources Research and Development Agency.
Professor Anton Pieratna, the Dean of the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences. Professor V.P. S. Pereira, the Dean of the Faculty of Natural Sciences. Dr. L.S.K. Udugama, the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering Technology. Dr. D.V.M. De Silva, the Dean of the Faculty of Education. Professor B.S.S. De Silva, the Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences. Mr. S.A.D. Senanayaka, the Dean of the Faculty of Management Studies.
Dr. Asmara Ramola Razul, Director, Postgraduate Institute of English, the Open University of Sri Lanka. Senior Professor Shironika Karunanayaka, Director, Center for Educational Technology and Media, the Open University of Sri Lanka. Mrs. W. L. V. Jayasena, Registrar, the Open University of Sri Lanka. Dr. W. M. K. G. A. Vikramasinghe, Birza, the Open University of Sri Lanka. Professor Roshan Pereira, Conference Chair, Department of Botany, Faculty of Natural Sciences, the Open University of Sri Lanka. Dr. Johan Mahagamage, Conference Chair and Director, Center for Environmental Studies and Sustainable Development, the Open University of Sri Lanka.
Professor B.P. Turney Pradeep Kumara, the co-chair representative and the chairman of the Department of Coastal Conservation and Coastal Resource Management. Dr. Buddhika Madura Peruma, the conference secretary from the Department of Botany, Faculty of Natural Sciences, Open University of Sri Lanka. Dr. Sandun Bandara, the conference secretary from the Department of Zoology, Faculty of Natural Sciences, Open University of Sri Lanka. Ms. Tisari Jananjana, conference coordinator of the Center for Environmental Studies and Sustainable Development of the Open University of Sri Lanka. And Dr. Regina Hershey, one of our respected authors, representing the contributing researchers of this conference.
Thank you very much. May this light guide us all towards knowledge, collaboration, and impactful environmental solutions. I would like to kindly request the following dignitaries to take their respective seats at the head table. Chief guest, Senior Professor PMC Tilakaratna, the Vice Chancellor of the Open University of Sri Lanka. Guest of honor, Senior Professor S. Bijoy Nandan, former Vice Chancellor of Kannur University and Dean of Faculty of Marine Sciences at Cochin University of Science and Technology, India. Honorary Professor Kathiresan Kandasamy, Conference Chair and Honorary Professor at the Center of Advanced Study in Marine Biology, Annamalai University, India. Professor Sevandi Jayakodi, Chair Professor of the Department of Aquaculture and Fisheries, Faculty of Livestock Fisheries and Nutrition, Wayambere University of Sri Lanka.
Senior Professor Shama Veerakon, Dr. K.H.M.L. Amaralal, Professor Roshan Pereira, Dr. Johan Mahagamage, Dr. Buddhika Madura Peruma, Dr. Sandun Bandara.
To formally commence today's proceedings, it is my honor to invite Dr. Johan Mahagamage, Conference Chair and Director of the Center for Environmental Studies and Sustainable Development of the Open University of Sri Lanka, to deliver the welcome address. Please join me in warmly welcoming Dr. Mahagamage to the podium.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Aibowan, the Chief Guest and the Vice Chancellor, Senior Professor PMC Tilakaratna, Guest of Honor, Professor S. Bijoy Nandan, Deans, Directors, Professors, all academic and non-academic members, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen. It is with great honor and heartfelt pleasure that I warmly welcome all of you who join physically and virtually to the 3rd International Conference on Mangroves for Sustainability, organized by the Center for Environmental Studies and Sustainable Development of the Open University of Sri Lanka. Today marks an important milestone in our collective journey to protect and preserve one of the planet's most valuable and vulnerable ecosystems, the mangroves. As the director of the Center for Environmental Studies and Sustainable Development and chair of this conference, I am truly humbled to see such distinguished gathering of scholars, scientists, researchers, policymakers, students, community representatives, and stakeholders from across the globe, all united by a shared mission, sustaining mangrove ecosystem for future generations. This year, the 3rd International Conference on Mangroves for Sustainability is held in hybrid mode, bringing together a diverse community of researchers, professionals, and practitioners from across the globe. The conference is organized around 7 thematic tracks covering the full spectrum of mangrove-related research and conservation. We are proud to host 86 abstract presentations from local and international research conducted related to mangroves, alongside 16 plenary talks delivered by esteemed experts related to mangroves, nearly all major national universities and several international institutions. Let me first welcome and extend our deep appreciation to our chief guest, Senior Professor PMC Tilakaratna, the Vice Chancellor of the Open University of Sri Lanka, for gracing this occasion with your presence and unwavering support. We are deeply grateful, sir. A warm welcome also to our guest of honor, Senior Professor S. Bijoy Nandan from the Cochin University of Science and Technology, India. Your presence enriched our academic and scientific discourse. We are privileged to have with us Senior Professor Shama Veerakon, Director of Research Unit of the Open University of Sri Lanka. Thank you for leadership in strengthening research at the university. We are honored by the presence of Dr. K.H.M.L. Amaralal, Deputy Director General for Research and Development at NARA, whose institution has been a strong technical collaborator of this conference. A very special welcome to our esteemed keynote speakers, Professor Sevandi Jayakodi, the Chair Professor at the Department of Aquaculture and Fisheries, Wayambere University of Sri Lanka, and the Honorary Professor Kadiresan Kandasamy, the conference chair from the Center for Advanced Studies and Marine Biology, Annamala University, Sri Lanka. Your insights and leaderships in mangrove conservation are sources of inspiring for all of us. We are also pleased to welcome the deans of the faculties, the directors of PGIE and SETME, our registrar, Bursa, librarian, academics and non-academics members of the Open University of Sri Lanka. I welcome and extend my sincere thanks to the conference chairs, conference coordinator with CESSD staff, conference secretaries, conference co-chairs, plenary speakers, session chairs, session co-chairs, the steering committee members, reviewers, editors, presenters, authors, and participants, as well as our special guests from government organizations, NGOs, industries, media, and other stakeholders related to these mangroves. So let me also recognize with gratitude the support of our technical collaborators, including MS Swaminathan Research Foundation India and National Aquatic Resource Research and Development Agency Sri Lanka. Our generous sponsors who made this conference possible: the Lakdanavi Limited, Image Foundation of Sri Lanka, Lanka Mangrove Museum, IUCN with Global Fund for Coral Reefs, Varun Beverages Lanka Private Limited, Areola Private Limited, Hemsons International Private Limited, Commercial Bank, and Avon Farm Chem Private Limited. So ladies and gentlemen, mangrove ecosystem offers us more than scenic beauty. They are lifelines of biodiversity, natural storm barriers, and vital carbon sinks. Yet they face growing threats from pollution, climate change, unsustainable practices. Through this conference, let us share knowledge, foster collaborations, and strengthen commitments for science-based, community-driven, and policy-supported conservation strategies. Once again, I warmly welcome all of you. Let us work together to ensure that the discussion and outcome of this conference contribute meaningfully to global effort in mangrove conservation and sustainability. Thank you, and I wish you all successful and inspiring conference today. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your warm welcome speech. Now, with great respect and privilege, I would like to invite our chief guest, Senior Professor PMC Tilakaratna, the Vice Chancellor of the Open University of Sri Lanka, to address the esteemed gathering.
Good morning, everyone. Professor Bijoy Nandan, Guest of Honor, Cochin University of Science and Technology. Honorary Professor Kadiresan, Conference Chair, Deans of the Open University of Sri Lanka, Registrar of the Open University, Conference Chair, Dr. Mahagamage, and Conference Secretary and Senior Professor Shama Virakon, Director Research, all other members in the head table, all our academics, directors of the university, paper presenters today and tomorrow, all the invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. This movement gives me immense pleasure and deep sense of responsibility to speak a few words at the inauguration ceremony of the 3rd International Conference on Mangroves for Sustainability. Of course, the first international conference in 2023 we have launched, and I do not forget to remind and also give a credit to Professor Banduni Atapattu, who of course conceptualized and articulated this conference theme, and today that we are continuing to the third consecutive year. This conference is more than a meeting of minds. It is collective commitment to one of the most pressing environment concerns of our time, the survival and sustainability of mangroves ecosystems, which are among the most productive and vital coastal habitats on our planet. Mangroves are not merely trees that grow in salty coastal waters. They are nature's guardians. They shield our shorelines from erosion, serves as nurseries for marine life, and act as powerful carbon sinks that mitigate the effects of climate change. Yet, despite this significance, mangroves are disappearing at an alarming rate, often sacrificed in the name of development and expansion. Everywhere in the world, so high-rise buildings are coming up and destroying our environment. In this context, your presence here as scholars, conservationists, policymakers, and students signifies hope today. It demonstrates a shared understanding that the preservation of mangroves is not a local issue, but a global imperative. Today and tomorrow, this conference will provide a platform to explore a wide range of topics, from ecological functions and restoration techniques to community-based conservation and policy frameworks. We look forward to research presentations, thought-provoking discussions, and the formation of new partnerships, all aimed at driving innovative, inclusive, and science-based strategies for mangroves conservation and sustainability. I must also acknowledge the efforts of the organizing team led by Dr. Johan Mahagamage, Director, the Center for Environmental Studies and Sustainable Development, partner universities, other all institutions, and also sponsors for this conference, who have worked tirelessly to make this event possible. Let me express special gratitude to our keynote speakers today. Of course, all the way came from India. Welcome to Sri Lanka as well, all the international participants. And other invited speakers whose presence lends great strength and stature to this conference. Let's use this opportunity not only to share knowledge, but also inspire action as the climate crisis continues to challenge the resilience of coastal communities. Let this gathering be remembered not just for what was said, but for what was done, decided, and initiated here. Together, let us reaffirm our commitment to protecting mangroves, not just for their ecological importance, but for the millions of lives that depends on them. Thank you, and I wish you all a productive and enriching conference. Please permit me to leave because I have another meeting to secure funds for the university for the 2026. So therefore, though that I like to stay with you, I cannot, that almost 10 o'clock the meeting, started at the Treasury. So thank you once again. All the very best for the conference, and Open University Sri Lanka always helping, developing, and elevating this kind of activities. Thank you once again, and have a nice day.
Thank you, sir, for your thoughtful words, and good luck. Next, it is my pleasure to invite Senior Professor Shama Veerakon, Director of the Research Unit at the Open University of Sri Lanka, to address the gathering.
Once again, good morning, everyone, and a special welcome to our online audience. Our chief guest, Professor P.M.C. Tilakaratne, the Vice Chancellor of the Open University of Sri Lanka, the guest of honor, Senior Professor Bojoy Nandan from Cochin University of Science and Technology, India, the guest speaker, Dr. Amarlal, the Deputy Director General, Research and Development, NARA, esteemed keynote speakers, Professor Kathiresan Kandasamy from Annamalai University, India, Professor Sewandi Jayakodi from Wayamba University of Sri Lanka, Dr. Johan Mahagamage, Director, CESSD, and the conference chair and the secretary, all academic, administrative, and non-academic staff members, our diligent paper presenters, and ladies and gentlemen who are present here today. As director of the research unit of the Open University of Sri Lanka, I'm pleased to have this opportunity to share a few words about the vibrant research culture we have cultivated and continuously upgraded over the years. My sincere thanks goes to Dr. Johan Mahagamage, Director, CESSD, and the entire ICMS 2025 Conference Committee for this invitation. Like all state universities in Sri Lanka, the OUSL, as the country's premier open distance learning ODL institute, firmly believes in nurturing a potential of its academic staff. We provide ample opportunities for them to engage in cutting-edge research, explore novel ideas, and contribute to innovation and other intellectual endeavors. This, in turn, significantly contributes to national development. Our commitment to research is evident in several key initiatives. For the past 22 years, the research unit has proudly organized the annual Open University Research Conferences. These conferences have evolved into a high-caliber research forum, attracting researchers from both local and international universities and research institutions. This year, on November 13th and 14th, we are excited to host the International Research Conference of the Open University of Sri Lanka, IRC, OUSL 2025, aiming to bring together a diverse community of local and foreign researchers. Taking our research culture a step further, the Faculty of Management Studies of the Open University of Sri Lanka has successfully hosted the International Conference on Management and Entrepreneurship, ICOM, for 3 consecutive years since 2022, and with plans to another successful event in this year as well. The Center for Environmental Studies and Sustainable Development, CESSD, has also been a powerhouse of activity. They organized the first international virtual conference on mangroves, ICMS 2023, followed by ICMS 2024, and additionally, CESSD hosted the impactful international conference on plastic and environmental sustainability, ICPES 2024, and planning for another successful event in this year as well. At this moment, I wish to thank Professor Banduni Atapattu, former Director, CESSD, for taking the leadership in organizing all these conferences. Today, I want to specifically congratulate CESSD for arranging the 3rd International Conference on Mangroves and Sustainability, ICMS 2025, which is taking place from July 22nd to 25th of July this year. This conference, ICMS 2025, is particularly vital as it shines a spotlight on mangroves. These remarkable ecosystems are far more than just trees. They are biodiversity hotspots, providing sustainable habitats for a multitude of fish and shellfish species. More critically, mangroves stabilize shorelines, effectively preventing erosion and acting as natural barriers that protects our land and communities from the destructive forces of waves and storms. Furthermore, mangroves are significant carbon sinks, storing vast amount of carbon in their biomass and soil, often more per unit area than many terrestrial forests. This exceptional carbon sequestration capability is crucial in mitigating the impact of climate change by reducing atmospheric carbon dioxide. Protecting and preserving mangroves is not just an environmental imperative. It directly contributes to achieving several UN Sustainable Development Goals, which include no poverty, zero hunger, responsible production and consumption, clean water and sanitation, climate action, life below water, life on land, and many more. A conference like ICMS 2025 is more than just a platform for scientists and researchers to present their work. It's a vital venue for brainstorming, networking, and forging crucial connections that can ignite new initiatives and groundbreaking findings. ICMS 2025 will undoubtedly offer fresh perspectives, allowing us to explore the multi-layered significance of mangroves in greater depth. The conference brings together an esteemed gathering of scholars, researchers, policymakers, conservationists, industry professionals, and enthusiasts from around the globe, fostering a rich environment for collaboration. Finally, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all of you for participating in ICMS 2025, and I wish the very best to all the presenters whose innovative research and ideas will be showcased here. While congratulating the entire conference committee of ICMS 2025 for their tireless efforts, I wish all of you a productive 4 days of intellectual engagement and stimulating discussions. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, madam. Now, it's time to take a moment to appreciate our cultural heritage. So, we are delighted to present a cultural performance by a talented team from the Faculty of Education of the Open University of Sri Lanka under the guidance of Dr. Ayomi Irugal Bandara.
Thank you very much for that mesmerizing performance. It is with great honor that we now invite our guest of honor, Senior Professor S. Bijoy Nandan, former Vice Chancellor of Kannur University and the Dean of the Faculty of Marine Sciences at Cochin University of Science and Technology, India. With over 30 years of distinguished academic and research leadership, Professor Nandan is an internationally renowned expert in marine biology, marine pollution, climate science, and polar studies. He has led more than 39 national and international research projects and authored 173 scientific publications, including in the prestigious journal Nature. His dedication to science and education is further reflected in his mentorship of over 150 postgraduate scholars. We are deeply honored by your presence today, sir. May I now warmly invite you to address the gathering.
Good morning to all of you. It's both an honor and a privilege to join in this important third international conference on mangroves for environmental sustainability, organized by the Open University of Sri Lanka. Most honored Vice Chancellor had delivered his address today and inaugurated the conference, and Professor Telekaratne, most honored Director of Research Shama Verakun of the University of Sri Lanka, Dr. Johan Mahagame, he is the conference chair, the director of the Center for Environmental Studies and Sustainable Development, Open University of Sri Lanka, Dr. Amara Lal, deputy director of NARA, most beloved professor, honorable professor and honored professor, Dr. Kadireshan Kandaswamy from Annamala University. Sir, namaste. Most honored Professor Sevendi Jayakodi, chair professor of the Department of Aquaculture and Fisheries, Wayamba University of Sri Lanka, and Dr. Buddhika of the Department of Botany, Faculty of Natural Sciences, Open University of Sri Lanka, other honorable dignitaries, respected delegates, scientists, students, and dear friends. It's a very important day, a very important event, the third consecutive international conference on mangroves for sustainability. It's great. It's so great to be in the next time. I've been here in Sri Lanka quite several times. It's great to be back at this beautiful coastal setting of Sri Lanka, a country whose ecological cultural links with India stretch across the Park Strait and through centuries of shared heritage. What we saw, a beautiful dance which is a merging of the Indian and Sri Lankan traditions, the Bharatanatyam, and the beauty of culture, art, science, everything merging on mangroves. Let me thank the organizers for inviting me to deliver this address and being the guest of honor in this diverse gathering of passionate minds committed to conservation of one of Earth's most vital ecosystem habitats, the mangroves. Mangroves, as we all know, are trees. Already our honored Vice Chancellor and also the Director was just explaining. They are trees growing in muddy waters. They are also the sentinels of coastal resilience. Carbon-rich ecosystems serve as the coastal bulwark against climate change, sea level rise, and extreme weather events. Yes, also highlighted by the Director, they are also very much to regulate the sustainable development goals. All the cardinal sustainable developmental goals, maybe 14, maybe 15, maybe the 2, maybe 6, maybe 1, maybe the 3 of all the sustainable development goals set by the United Nations. If you look at that, very recent statistics have come out, and India has gone up the sustainable development goals from 100 plus, we have come to 97th position in maintaining the sustainable development goals. That's great. But parallelly, I was just looking into the Sri Lanka. They have maintained a very high, and they are in the 93rd position as far as the SGD, Sustainable Development Goal achievements are concerned. This is very impressive. Mangroves are concentrated in the global south, most shared by Indonesia, of course India, Brazil, Australia hosting the largest areas, but many provinces are now threatened due to excessive or extreme land use changes, over-harvesting and climate impacts. The rates of degradation, and particularly in the Indian Ocean rim states, this is very, very stressful. I'm just stressing to say these very important things, because in the Indian Ocean rim states, especially deeply alarming, because if you look at the state of the Maldives, a neighboring state, if you look at Sri Lanka, if you look at Indonesia also away from here, if you look all these areas and also the coastal wetlands of Australia, if you look, you have the greatest threat of dieback phenomenon, the greatest looming threat and largest dieback is reported. And we have been one of the first institutions, Cochin University of Science and Technology, have been the first institution to report the die-off from the Asian. That is why I told this. Just scanty reports have come. But I'm just telling a professional and scientific report linking to climate change, linking to carbon variability, linking to your Anthropocene effects happening in this part of the country. And if you look at this, these are linked to complex stressors exacerbated by climate change. Definitely, just in our own readings, if you like, which has been recently published also, I came across a sobering report of highlighting the decline. I think all of you, my friends, have come out with a very sobering report on the photosynthetic efficiency, the declining photosynthetic efficiency, which has been very recently reported, and the carbon capture below the ground or above the ground, the carbon capture capability of mangroves are, along with forest ecosystems, are largely declining. I will not leave out mangroves, largely including the larger. So this is very, very, very alarming, because if you reduce if the photosynthetic efficiency of the plants, or the mangrove or the forest trees are coming down, it's going to indicate that it's because of the climate-related physiological stress, maybe evapotranspiration, the amount of carbon fixed in below the ground, and so many physiological stresses are happening in maybe in the growing stage, maybe in the developing stage, maybe in the flowering stage. All these stages have to be compartmentalized, and if you analyze, it's a very important area. And Professor Roni is also here, I think. Yeah. I was speaking to him. He's looking into the conservation. He's heading the conservation. He was with Ruhuna. I was just speaking to him in the morning. And his great work has to come from Open University. Bringing out these conferences, you have to bring out data sets. I think largely Sri Lanka, and now there's it needs to build upon its data sets, especially the carbon linked to climate science, carbon linked to how much of energy, amount of carbon is transported to the oceans, to the coral reefs, to the ecosystems, monitoring. All these updated data has to come. I was looking to these data last several years, because we scan through globally. And similarly, the dieback phenomenon, which is seriously affected, you just get neglected. You will largely get, you don't give much seriousness to the dieback, but you see, oh, it's dying off. Lumnicera is dying. You may see Bruguera is dying. You look into different species. But there are serious ecological and climate-related issues happening here. And we cannot, this underscores this pressing reality that we no longer need to underestimate the severity of these mangrove die-off. It's no longer a localized issue. It's a global warming sign in many parts of the country globally. And the deteriorating coastal resilience. Of course, the changing hydrological regime is very important. Nobody looks into the hydrological regime. We have to look very intricately. You have to have a team of ecologists, team of hydrologists, team of environmental engineers, all working together to redeem and bring up the dying. Almost 35 to 40% of the mangroves have lost. And we have almost 21 species in Sri Lanka. How many you're going to lose? You have over 14,000, 15,000 hectares of mangroves in Sri Lanka. And do you want to conserve it? Do you want to have new plantations? You want to enhance it, or you want to just let it die off? These are things which is going to be discussed, I think, in these deliberations which is going to have for the next 2 to 3 days. And definitely sea level rise. Yes, we found that in the Maldivian mangroves very nearby. And this is very, very stressful. And definitely pollution and all acting in concert in the shadow of climate change. Of course, I would like to stress very important, the Global Mangrove Alliance, GMA, and Sri Lanka is a very, very important country which has been part of the GMA. And this Global Mangrove Alliance and Climate MAC is also very important in the conservation. And if you look at the conservation and restoration through research, collaboration and climate action. If you look at the GMA driven by NGOs like Conservation International, IUCN, WWF, aims to halve the mangrove loss and double the protected areas. It's very, and whereas while MAC is launched by UAE and Indonesia, brings governments together for climate mitigation through mangroves. Of course, this conference, I'm very privileged to say that to attend this international conference on mangrove restoration and conservation. Very recently I came to, and I think many of my friends who have attended the recent international conference, where over 90 countries participated, the Mangrove Initiative Conference at Abu Dhabi. This is a game changer where the world nations gathered for the conservation and sustainability and the protection of mangroves. And here you could see that the countries from Asia, Middle East, other East Oceania, and also deliberated on various issues. This was tremendous. I think this was a path-breaking meeting. And on just subsequently, then we had a Chennai meeting. We had a very wonderful Chennai meeting. Then subsequent to this, I'm attending this wonderful conference, excellent conference in Open University. Yes, all credits goes to Johan and the wonderful team. I think we all need to give a good round of applause. Yes, definitely. And here in Abu Dhabi, I would just like to say that we gathered to deliberate the science-based strategies. This is very most picking of what came out from the Abu Dhabi conference was the science-based strategies and technology-driven approaches. That was very, I think many countries like India, Sri Lanka, Maldives, all have to come up with technology, science-based strategies for solutions. This is very, very important. We are all scientists. We are all social scientists. We may be economists. Whatever in your own area, you come out with technologies, you come out with ideas, come out with solutions. This is very, very important. And this was largely looming and dominating the Abu Dhabi meeting, where over 100 countries participate from global, all over. And this is going to be a harbinger definitely to that meeting, is definitely, I'm sure, which definitely, and for the mangrove conservation. And I would also, I found very important in the Abu Dhabi meeting, I think countries like Sri Lanka also with the technologies and with engineers have to develop drone-based aerial seeding to restore the large tracts of degraded mangroves in UAE. We have found in UAE, we need to look at solutions in countries like Sri Lanka also that holds enormous potential for the scalability across regions, and especially in the Indian Ocean belt. With regard to India and Sri Lanka, we have a long history, collaboration, and I believe that it's now right for us to collaborate more for joint initiatives. When I met Professor Roni, he's from Ruhana today morning. It's very surprised to see. I was in Ruhana to sign an MOU with the Ruhana University a couple of years back. We discussed how to protect and conserve the degrading mangroves of both countries, especially in Sri Lanka. We said that KUSAT, Cochin University of Science and Technology, and other like-minded institutions in the country of India, we'll be able to collaborate and find. So I was just today morning very happy to meet him also. He said, yes, go ahead. I think Dr. Johan, you should definitely go ahead, and we'll be there to collaborate and do the best. Recent MOU also we signed, and I had the opportunity also to visit Ruhana, interact with so many researchers and other neighboring institutions on mangrove restoration, and the Indian High Commission in Sri Lanka also showed keen interest at the time in facilitating exchanges, and you urge all stakeholders to take engagements forward. Let me emphasize today the meeting also very important that the regional cooperation among Indian Ocean rim states, so many transboundary, you can have collaborations, and transboundary nature of marine ecosystems includes the mangroves, calls for shared monitoring systems. That's very, very important. You can have shared monitoring systems, India, Sri Lanka, Maldives, and so many maritime states, they can collaborate. And this is well replicated in Sri Lanka because I'm part of the international expert group with Russia also. We are monitoring the Arctic, the polar regions. So we work in tandem with that country. So many global, all these, the world is getting closer. We need to work together. We need to work jointly. We need to find solutions. And similar things have to come up in mangroves also, because we are also trying to collaborate with various countries. I think Sri Lanka it's the right time that we collaborate more and we develop frameworks and solutions to these conferences and the visibility of challenges and opportunities for coastal ecosystem restoration in the region. Of course, we must look ahead and hope that also with determination, and the way forward must be twofold. I would say it should be technology-driven restoration. Yes, we should have involving technological tools like drones, remote sensing, and AI-enabled habitat monitoring systems should be enabled in our mangrove restoration activities. Second, community-driven conservation, that is largely engaging fisherfolk, youth, and women in the restoration and stewardship activities, especially recognizing the greater strength of the local communities in the central, because they are epitome of sustainable development. To conclude, I would like to say that the mangrove restoration is not just planting trees. It is just restoring the ecological integrity. That's very, very important. That's why I said you have to have a collective action of various scientists, various economists, various local self-governments, and local people and the community. It's a gathering. And so that ecological integrity, social equity, and so to enhance the economic value of the coastal systems. As scientists, educators, policymakers, and we must move on. And from reactive conservation to proactive and collaborative ecosystem co-design. Let this conference not be the end, but the beginning of stronger regional cooperation, regional platform for discussion, for science-based initiatives, and this should be inclusive. Inclusivity should be enshrined in our actions for scalable mangrove action. Together, let us chart our way forward for a resilient and sustainable ocean future. Thank you so much for a patient listening. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your inspiring words. Now, with great pleasure, I would like to invite Dr. K.H.M.L. Amarlal, the Deputy Director General of the National Aquatic Resources Research and Development Agency, NARA, to address the gathering.
Everybody, honorable head table invitees, including person came from India and also Sri Lanka, and other invitees, my dear friends. I think this is a very important event, especially for the researchers and scientists of the country. This conservation of mangroves ecosystem, actually it's a unique ecosystem for us, for Sri Lanka, although differently spread around the coastal stretch of the country. It is very important to protect not only for the sustainability of itself, even our life as well. As you know, actually, at the moment, we are, our coastal fish production is depleting. So maybe if we continue this trend, maybe in future 10 years, 15 years, our children cannot eat fish, even a piece of fish. So why? Then we have to protect actually our environment. That is one of unique is mangroves ecosystem, because it's a nursery grounds and generating more valuable lives of animals. So then I think this this type of activities, dialogues among experts and scientists are very important to exchange their knowledge and ideas for the final objective of conservation and development. So then I think we do as much as possible. The NARA, I think almost all of you know about what is the NARA. It's a National Aquatic Resource Research and Development Agency. We have a dedicated center for the mangrove studies. We call Kadol Kale, is a singular term for the mangroves forest. So then we have stations there, some scientists, and they are doing some research annually. So then we are now planning to build up there even mangrove nursery, or the foundation already laid down. So especially Negambu area is very populous area for tourism. I think this mangrove ecosystem generates more economic value or ecosystem values for the nation. So we have to extract those values for the sustainable development of the economy of the country. So we can generate more values through this unique ecosystem. So now we are planning to do that, and even in future we are going to develop more and more research and development activities related to in the Negambu Kadol Kale Regional Center. Also we have 2 more regional centers dedicated to the mangrove studies, Kapratota Regional Centers and Kalpitiya Regional Center. There are very good mangrove forest area in both centers. So it is a unique area for research and development as well. We are providing those support to especially university students, some other researchers to conduct their research activities utilizing our resources in those areas. Now we are planning to join with private sector to develop this mangrove ecosystem in those areas and research activities to attract tourists to generate more economic value. I think this unique ecosystem protection, management, sustainability is more important nowadays for our better future. I think this, I wish all the best on behalf of NARA for all of you and to this conference as well. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Dear guest, we now invite you to enjoy some refreshments. Please take this opportunity to relax and network. We kindly request you to rejoin us by 11:10 a.m. as we continue with the next part of our program. Thank you.
Dear ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats now. So, moving forward in our program, it's my honor to announce that the keynote address will be delivered by Honorary Professor Kathiresan Kandasamy from the Center of Advanced Study in Marine Biology, Annamala University, India. So, to do the honors of formally introducing Professor Kathiresan, now I kindly invite Professor Roshan Pereira from the Department of Botany to present his distinguished biography.
Thank you and good morning again. Okay. Thank you and good morning again. Professor Kathiresan, Professor Kandasamy Kathiresan, he's a good world-class scientist who studied mangrove in 17 countries. He's one among the top 1% scientists in the world for last 4 years and declared Stanford University. He has published more than 550 research papers. Currently, he is honorary professor of Annamala University, former dean and the director of the Center of Advanced Study in Marine Biology attached to the Annamala University. He also currently serving as a marine ecologist, ecosystems expert. He has documented highest record in biodiversity of over 5,000 species in India. He guided more than 40 PhDs and 22 MPhil degrees. He discovered the new mangrove species and named it after university as a Rhizophora annamalana. He also raised mangrove forests in coastal Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry. The mangrove forest raised by him saved thousands of human lives during 2004 tsunami. Currently, he is representing South Asian in IUCN Mangrove Specialist Group. He is Vice President of Mangrove Society of India and National Institute of Ecology. He is a member of Steering Committee of Ministry of Environment and Forest Climate Change in New Delhi. I warmly welcome Professor Kandasamy Kathiresan for deliver his keynote speech.
You can. Thanks to Parara for your excellent introduction about me. What an excellent introduction. That is why I brought my wife all the way from India in order to hear my introduction. My Sri Lankan friends are always affectionate, and they will exaggerate the people like anything out of affection. So thank you very much, Parara. My wife is also here. She is very happy about me. Thank you very much. So beautiful brothers, beautiful sisters, not yourself, no, beautiful sisters. All of you are beautiful. I am also beautiful. You are all beautiful. I am also beautiful. But mangroves are more beautiful than anything else. Are they sustainable now? That is the question. The answer is this conference. Are mangroves are sustainable? Yes or no? We are going to find it out. Okay? So this is the purpose of this. I have seen hundreds of universities in my lifetime. One among the best universities ever seen in my lifetime is none other than Open University of Sri Lanka. Please give a big hand. Sir, you are invited to give keynote address. That is why you are exaggerating like Sri Lanka. No. what I am telling is the truth. 1 year, 3 international conferences. Is it possible by any university in the world? I have organized many, many international conferences. 3 international conferences within 1 year. Impossible. This university has made it possible. Please give a big hand to this university and the stalwarts. You see the director research, ever beautiful lady. Very efficient lady. My friend Yogan, where is he? Yogan and Putika. Vibrant people, emotionally vibrant people, affectionate, bubbling interest, organized. Day in, day out, they are working. Day in, day out. Yesterday, till 5 a.m., they were working. Hats up to the organizing committee for the remarkable efforts you have taken. Speaking is easy for me. Hours together I can speak, but only half an hour. But listening is very difficult, because speaking is a skill. Listening is attitude. So I request you to kindly sleep. Nice coffee, nice snacks, all of you sleep. But one condition, no snoring. If you snore, that will disturb others. So without snoring, be happy, cheerful. So coming to the point. Okay, mangroves are marvel of nature, ecological wonder, scenic splendor. Okay? And mangroves are the one and only blue carbon forest on the earth. Nature-based solution for global warming. Mangroves are far more efficient than any other ecosystems on the earth. You see, mangrove, most of the carbon is stored in the soil up to 4-meter depth, whereas terrestrial forests can store only up to 30-centimeter depth. Mangrove carbon can be stored for millions of years because of anaerobic conditions. Terrestrial forests can store only a few centuries. Therefore, mangroves are greater than any other aquatic systems on the earth because of this carbon sequestration potential. No fire, forest fire, no. Absolutely nothing. 1 carbon credit today in the international market is $50. 1 carbon credit is equal to 1 ton of carbon dioxide is stored. If you take 1 hectare of mangroves, minimum 5 carbon credits. Just calculate how much of carbon is stored. Mangroves are biodiversity hotspot. Biodiversity hotspot because it is located between land and sea, supporting both marine organisms and terrestrial organisms. And mangroves, just look at this picture. The marine animals are releasing the babies, and the babies are coming to mangrove waters and other coastal waters for feeding, because nutritious food like mother milk is available in mangrove waters. So the babies are coming to mangrove waters. After feeding, they are growing faster. And after sub-adult stage, they go back to the deep sea, where they are getting married. Love marriage. They are getting married, releasing the young ones. Babies, again babies are coming to the mangrove waters. So the life cycle is completed partly in the mangrove waters and the coastal waters. Okay? So mangroves are the fish factories, supporting millions of people on the earth. No mangroves, no prawn. No mangroves, no sesame crabs. No forest on land, no fish in the sea. Therefore, mangroves are important. So mangroves are biodiversity hotspot. Mangroves are fish factories. And what is important is hydrological connectivity. So water management, water regime management is need of the hour. Hydrological connectivity, because mangroves are located between land and sea, that hydrological connectivity is very important. If you obstruct the hydrological connectivity, dam constructions, it will disturb the hydrological connectivity. The productivity of the mangrove system will be affected. This is the thing. So water management in mangrove system is very important. Mangroves mitigate ocean acidification. When the carbon dioxide is increasing the atmosphere, it will dissolve in the sea water. Carbonic acid is formed. Carbonic acid is weak acid. It dissociates and releasing hydrogen. When the hydrogen is released, what will happen? The pH of the seawater is reduced. Acidification. So the acid seawater will corrode or also reduce the calcification of marine organisms. And in this context, mangroves export alkalinity of 4.2 trillion mole per year. That increases pH. So the ocean acidification problem can be overcome by the mangroves. Well, now I am going to give a very shocking news. Don't get heart attack. All of you, just put your chest, careful, heart, just shake it. Very dangerous. Very shocking news, sir. Very shocking news I am going to give you. Don't worry. We are here. We will solve the problem. 50% of the world mangroves are at the risk of collapse. 25% of global mangrove areas will submerge by sea level rise within 50 years. Shocking news. Shocking news. Another very serious shocking news. So we have to do like this. That is Sri Lanka, South India, Maldives. These are the three countries critically endangered for mangrove ecosystems. Your Sri Lanka, my South India, and Maldives. These are critically endangered for the mangrove sustainability. 82% of the mangrove area will submerge in 2060 at 1.1 meter sea level rise by 2100. This is a serious issue we have to discuss more for the sustainability of the mangroves. So what are we going to do? How to solve this problem? How to ensure the sustainability? I suggest number one, mangrove expansion. Flood risk management is very, very important. So under which, mangrove expansion. Now we have the mangrove with 50 to 200 meter width. Mangrove, the width is 50 to 200 meter. That is not sufficient. We should have more than 500 meter width. Then only it can reduce the flood risks and waves by more than 75%. Okay? Regardless of local conditions. So see to that, madam, you are in the committee, you please see to that minimum 500 meter width of the mangrove should be maintained in Sri Lanka. Please take an action on that. Expansion of mangrove forests. Is it clear to you? Okay, next. Second, flood risk management. Always flooded. What can we do, sir? How can we grow mangroves? Always flooded. No problem. New technique. That is a topographical modification by raising the land area. You can have geotextile mess. Can you see this? Geotextile mess with the height equal or lower than 5 to 10% of the maximum flood height. You can fill it with the soil, plant it with mangroves, and then you can grow them. So this is a very interesting technique by which we can avoid the flooded areas. Clear to you? You can raise up the land by using, not polythene sheet, it's a geotextile mess. Same polythene sheet type only, the big one, you can have it. This is the second method. The third is waves, heavy waves and winds. How to manage the risk? So the suggestion, what I'm giving here is permeable structures. You can have a permeable structure, say bamboo. You can have a bamboo fencing. If you have a bamboo fencing will trap the sediment. And sediment, when it is trapped, it will help in the natural regeneration of mangroves and mangrove colonization. So permeable structure like bamboo and trapping sediment and natural regeneration of mangroves. Between the bamboos, you put mangrove branches. They will decompose and provide food for the fishes. Fishes are attracted. Fishes will be attracted, detritus food is formed. So this is the technique. The next is, pointer is not working. It's not moving. Next. The second one is, so the first technique I told permeable structure. The second what we should do is to, for the risk management against heavy waves and winds, you have to convert the concave into convex shoreline. Because concave shoreline is highly vulnerable. Concave shoreline is highly vulnerable than convex. So convert the concave shoreline into convex shoreline. Sir, how to change it, sir? Very simple, soil nourishment. Soil nourishment. Then you can have the permeable structure I told, the permeable structure in the T fashion. You can have permeable structure in the T fashion. You can solve this problem. Next, in Sundarban, in India, and Bangladesh, what we are doing is, the local people, they construct a sea wall, embankment they are constructing. What for? Protecting the people and also the farmland from the fury of the sea waves, high winds and other things. But unfortunately, the sea wall, embankment, sea dike is vulnerable to erosion. Now new technology has been developed in Sundarban. You can have terracotta, the rounded earthen pot. Rounded earthen pot, terracotta, you can have it in front of this embankment. The terracotta will trap the sediment. Terracotta will trap the sediment. The land is elevated. Natural regeneration will take place. So this is the latest technique we are following in Sundarban to prevent the coastal erosion reduction. Next. Now, what is the legal status? So the legal framework for mangrove plantation, 82% of the mangroves in the world are legally protected. 60% of the mangroves in the world are protected by laws restricting the cutting and clearing. 75% of the mangroves are integrated in coastal planning and environmental impact assessment laws. Fine, very happy. But what is to be done? Whether enforcement is perfect. So we have to improve the effectiveness of existing legal framework. Legal framework we have to, improve. Then climate action. Then invest more on community management. Sir, you invest more on community involvement or community management. Then improve the ecosystem services. Improve the ecosystem services. Why? Why should we improve the ecosystem services? Because mangrove ecosystem services will be lost by end of this century. Entirely the ecosystem services of the mangroves will be lost by end of this century. Okay? So this is a problem. Therefore, we have to improve our ecosystem services. So how to improve our ecosystem services? I'm giving you a solution here. You have to integrate economics, ecology, and society. So if you integrate the three components, if you make ecology sustainable and the economy viable and cost effective, and if the restoration process is socially acceptable by involving local community for benefit sharing, then the ecosystem service will be improved, and the restoration is not structural. Restoration is functional, involving the local communities. Very, very important for sustainability. My dear friends, this is a very important point you have to bear in your mind. So the mangrove breakthrough, it's a global initiative. Now it is aimed at restoring and protecting 15 million hectares in the world by the year 2030. So 15 million hectares, restoration and protection, how much of money? The cost is $4 billion investment. So the cost investment is $4 billion. What is the profit? Company people will ask you no profit. Profit is 700 billion US dollars. So the cost is 4 billion. The benefit is 700 billion. How many times you see? 165 times your profit is more than the investment in mangroves. Convince the companies in that way. So this much is there. In addition, you have to think of the mangrove positive business models. Mangrove positive business model. Because we have to provide livelihood to the local people. We have to increase and improve the economy of the local people. Therefore, mangrove positive business models have to be developed. Number one, blue carbon. Blue carbon. It can be sold in the international. Ecotourism. Sri Lanka economy is mainly dependent on ecotourism. Multi-billion-dollar industry. Ecotourism. Fisheries. 1 hectare mangrove area, you have 5 million individual fishes. And you take aquaculture. Crab fattening is very much successful. We have proved in our country and in our department. Crab fattening, very successful. Then sustainable prawn in the mangrove water itself. Then beekeeping, honey making, honey collection. In Sundarban, India alone, we are collecting more than 300 tons every year of honey. How much of honey is available? Then go for halophyte cultivation. In Sri Lanka, aloe vera. Aloe vera is successfully cultivated. We can go for vetiver and other halophytes. Then water purification. The mangroves will convert the toxic heavy metals into sulfides. And the sulfides are buried deep into the soil. So mangroves are removing the toxic pollutants. So the industry effluents can be treated using these mangroves. So you think in that line of water purification. Food and drinks. Kerala drinks. I think in your country it is very famous. I also had one day, I slept very nicely. That drink is extracted from mangrove fruits. Mangrove fruits. Why don't you develop this business model? Then medicines and nutraceuticals. The academicians, please do research. And we have found excellent anti-HIV compound, antiviral compound, very efficient in controlling viral diseases. So go for nutraceuticals and things like that. Lot of opportunities are. You tell me when to stop, I will stop it. Because I am a teacher, I will go on speak. Speaking is easy for me. I told you, speaking is easy. Stop it. If you don't stop it, I'll go on talk till the night. I will talk. Because it's a professional ethics of a teacher. Madam has to speak next, So that's it. Okay, next. Mangroves are degrading. Why are they degrading? I found out the reason. I compared the luxuriant mangrove with the degrading mangroves and found because of poor flushing of the tidal waters, the salinity is increasing. When the salinity is increasing, nutrients are not available. Nutrients are not available. Beneficial bacteria are not available. So mangroves are not growing, degrading. So what is the solution? The solution is how to overcome the degradation. Solution is artificial canal can be constructed. Artificial canal construction, in the degrading mangrove area so that you can flush that area with the tidal water. Artificial canal. You can make it in the zigzag fashion. You can make it in the fishbone model design. No, sir, I am a dancer. I want to make it like a dancing. Okay, do it. But idea is proper flushing. Proper flushing. So if we can develop the artificial canals, what will happen? So in South India, we have proved that 90% of the degraded mangroves became luxuriant mangroves, converted it within 15 years. And artificial canal, lot of fishes are coming and harboring. No fees is given for accommodation. Nice hotel we are constructing for the fish, young ones. So fish habitat is increased, fish resources increase. I found twofold increase in the artificial canals than the natural canals. So the fish resources increased. And the road construction everywhere. Breaking the mangrove, road construction everywhere, no other go. We have to travel, no? So road construction is very important, but road construction affects the water flow. Mangroves are dying. So what shall we do? We have to go for the culvert rehabilitation. The culvert rehabilitation, people mostly using cylindrical culvert. Can you see this? Cylindrical culvert. So all debris will go and block it. So that's not correct. If you want to do the culvert, it should be Y-shaped, inverted Y-shape. If you have the inverted Y-shaped culvert, then that is ideal for the flow of water. Next. So mangrove conservation and restoration, natural regeneration should be given the top priority. Next is hydrological restoration, second priority. The third one is planting. Massive planting should be avoided. It was totally failure. Not only in many places, including Sri Lanka, massive plantation is a failure. But what is to be done? The planting should be a community-led restoration. The planting should be made into community-led restoration. That will be successful for a long run. So natural regeneration, hydrological restoration, and planting. So next, planting. There are different types of planting: direct planting, indirect planting, and direct planting using the viviparous propagules. Even Rhizopora, people are using nursery, not necessary. So direct planting is perfectly all right. Directly planted hypocotyls or viviparous seedlings perform better than nursery-derived seedlings. This is the experiment we have proved. Okay, so direct. Then indirect. Indirect planting is for nursery-derived and wildlings, it is used. What is important is genetic engineering is absolutely absent in our planting program. No genetic diversity is considered in our restoration program. So please consider the genetic diversity. Sir, how can we do it, sir? Only Abyssinia and Rhizopora, nothing else we know, sir. Don't worry. You can go for genetic selection. Whoever is going like Puttiga, tall trees, you collect seeds from them. No, whichever tree is growing like me, ignore it. Okay, that genetic selection is very important. And don't collect seeds always from a single tree. You collect it from different trees of different regions with a great distance so that genetic diversity can be maintained. Is it clear to you? Okay, next. Floating nursery. In our place, we are now trying with the floating nurseries. It's a new concept. Don't say new concept. Chinese established in 212 floating nurseries. That is very interesting for improving the water quality, and also it's a good for hardening process. Okay, next. Next, where to plant? People are confused with the planting. You should plant only above mean sea level. Always plant above mean sea level, and the area should be inundated at least 50% of the time. These are the two conditions, guiding principles I am giving you. Don't plant it in the mud flat. Don't plant it in the sea grasses. Okay, so don't do that. That is the mistake many people are committing. We are not supposed to commit. Okay, next. Spatial planning. Sea level is rising. Mangroves are growing between land and sea. So the mangroves are moving towards the land, landward migration. But we happily constructed lot of buildings, concrete jungles. Where is the space for the mangroves to move towards the land? So spatial planning is very important to provide space for landward migration of mangroves. I think we need to have the spatial planning in the intertidal area. Next, invasive species. See, in Sri Lanka, we have Acacia auriculariformis. This species is a great threat to mangroves. Clear it immediately. Wherever you find Acacia auriculariformis, remove it. Prosopis, do you have? Prosopis, clear it off. Very big headache in Tamil Nadu and South India. Prosopis, whole of India. And you see Agrosticum aerium fern. It is an indication of mangrove degradation. remove it. Wherever this particular fern is there, that soil is acidic. So this is very important. Next, pest problem. Professor Biju Nandan was telling about dying disease. But now spiders, scale insects, you go for organic fertilizer. We are using Panchakaviya. I will give you the composition, very effective to control whatever disease it is, it can control. What to monitor? What to monitor in mangroves after plantation? Vegetation, soil, fauna, society. You just monitor these factors. And now the latest technique, you just look at this picture. You see that we think that we are very intelligent, brilliant, highly adapted. You see the mangrove crab. Look at the mangrove crab. He is taking a mud. No geometry box, nothing. So he is making a round and then taking the mud cap, going to the burrow, closing it. You know why? The flood is going to come. So careful, these animals are better than human beings in adaptation. You should understand the animal sighting is very important. You see mangroves of Sri Lanka, hats up to mangroves of Sri Lanka, the world's first nation to protect all mangroves. Hats up to this country. 15,600 hectares in 14 coastal districts. Then I asked Ferrara what is the actual figure. He said, sir, today it is 19,000 plus hectares. But the next time when I come, how much it will become? Exact figure is not available. In the same way, I asked NASA director also. He is giving another figure. That means he was also nicely telling, we need to take a perfect mapping of these mangroves of this country, arrive at what exactly is present. How much of mangrove is present. Putiga, you go for the ground truthing. And then you have to make perfect extent of mangroves in this country. But my suggestion is, double the mangrove cover. By 2030, have an objective. Species recovery program. See, in your country, there are 22 species. 9 species are under threat. 9 species, 2 species are critically endangered. 3 species are endangered. And see, my friend is here, Manoj, he knows. You only gave this figure. If at all any mistake, just call him. Then 4 vulnerable species are here. See, totally 9 species are at threat. Do you have species recovery program in the country? You must have the species recovery program. And I see in the Nagumbu, I am seeing that the water area is shrinking. So enhance the water area of lagoon by increasing the hydrological connectivity. Are we doing any work on hydrological connectivity? Do something on hydrological. Participatory management and mangrove positive business models to attract international investments and industrial investments or something like that. And many industries have come forward to organize this program. So youth power. Youth power is mightier than any other power on the earth. But the youth power I am seeing, they are on the last benches. And you should bring the youth power to the front benches. See, all the people are very keenly watching, but they must work. They must be involved. When I say participatory approach, involve the youth. My success story. I involved my boys alone in mangrove restoration. It was totally failure. When I involved my boys alone, when I involved my girls students, 100% successful mangrove restoration. Girls can clap. You know why? It is because of boys. If you combine boys and girls, youth, for mangrove plantation program, very successful, my experience. During tsunami, thousands of human lives were saved. The mangroves developed by my students. And the people who were saved, they ran to my department. They prostrated in front of my department portico, rolled and cried. Because of the mangrove forest developed by your students, our lives were saved. They were crying out. I felt as if I got Nobel Prize for the effort of my young students and their efforts. So please make use of the youth power. and mangrove restoration work. Last slide. Oh. So protect mangroves, mangroves will protect us. Save mangroves, mangroves will save us. Let us have a vision to see, vigor to act, heart to care mangroves for ecological sustainability and economic prosperity. Thanks to Dr. Yogan, Director, for all your effort. The remarkable effort you have taken along with the team, day in, day out you are working. All your efforts will be paid in future. All the best. Be the best, best of the best, only best, all the best. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir, for that wonderful and energetic presentation delivered with such enthusiasm and passion. It was truly inspiring. And once again, we are privileged to enjoy a vibrant display of Sri Lankan culture. For that, we now take great pleasure in presenting a delightful cultural performance by the gifted team from the Faculty of Education at the Open University of Sri Lanka, led by Dr. Ayomi Irgol Bandara.
Thank you all very much for that mesmerizing performance. So, the next item on our program is the official launching of the conference books. To begin this special moment, may I kindly invite Dr. Johan Mahagamage, the director of the Center for Environmental Studies and Sustainable Development, to hand over the conference book to Senior Professor S. Bijoy Nandan, today's guest of honor, the former Vice Chancellor of Kannur University and the Dean of the Faculty of Marine Sciences at Kochi University of Science and Technology, India.
Next, I would like to invite Professor Roshan Pereira, Conference Chair from the Department of Botany, Open University of Sri Lanka, to present the book to Dr. K.H.M.L. Amaralal, Deputy Director General, Research and Development, National Aquatic Resources Research and Development Agency, NARA. I now invite Honorary Professor Kathiresan Kandasamy, yes, yes, to deliver for the Professor Sivwandi Jayakodi, Chair Professor of Department of Aquaculture and Fisheries, Faculty of Livestock Fisheries and Nutrition, Wayamba University of Sri Lanka.
I also invite Dr. Buddhika Madura Peruma, Conference Secretary from the Department of Botany, Open University of Sri Lanka, to distribute the conference book to Senior Professor Shama Veerakon, the Director of the Research Unit at the Open University of Sri Lanka.
Now I cordially invite Senior Professor S. Bijoy Nandan, today's guest of honor, former Vice Chancellor of Kannur University and Dean of Faculty of Marine Sciences at Kochi University of Science and Technology, India, to distribute the conference book to the following conference co-chairs. Professor Terni Pradeep Kumar, Department of Oceanography and Marine Geology, Faculty of Fisheries and Marine Sciences and Technology, University of Runa, Sri Lanka. Dr. Gihan Dharanayaka, Department of Zoology, Faculty of Natural Sciences, the Open University of Sri Lanka. Dr. R. Ramasubramaniam, M.S. Swaminathan Research Foundation, India. Dr. M.G. Manoj Prasanna, Biodiversity Secretariat, Ministry of Environment, Sri Lanka. Dr. Shamali Veerasekara, Environmental Studies Division, National Aquatic Resources Research and Development Agency. Dr. Prasad Senadira, Center for International Forestry Research, Sri Lanka. Dr. Chamila Dayas, Center for Environmental Studies and Sustainable Development, the Open University of Sri Lanka. Dr. Uchamali Mariappan, MS Swaminathan Research Foundation, India.
Thank you, sir. Now, I cordially invite Professor Sewandi Jayakodi, the Chair Professor at the Department of Aquaculture and Fisheries, Wayamba University of Sri Lanka, to distribute the conference books to the following editorial board members. Professor K.A.J.M. Kurupuarachi from the Open University of Sri Lanka. Professor Roshan Pereira from the Open University of Sri Lanka. Professor Utpala A. Jayawardena from the Open University of Sri Lanka. Dr. Gihan Dharanayaka from the Open University of Sri Lanka. Dr. Buddhika Maduraperuma from the Open University of Sri Lanka. Dr. S.M.P.K. Senaviratna from the Open University of Sri Lanka. Dr. N.G.Y.L. Mahagamage from the Open University of Sri Lanka. Dr. Vasana De Silva from the University of Kelaniya. Dr. Kalpani Marasinghe from the University of Colombo. Dr. Shamali Veerasekara from the National Aquatic Resources Research and Development Agency, NARA.
Again, I would like to invite Honorary Professor Kathiresan Kandasamy from the Center of Advanced Study in Marine Biology, Annamala University, India, to distribute the conference books to the following language editors. Dr. Anoma Satrasinghe, the Open University of Sri Lanka. Dr. Jayani Hapugoda, the Open University of Sri Lanka. Ms. Mayanti Kulatunga Jayakodi, the Open University of Sri Lanka. Mr. A.H.K. Balasurya, the Acting Librarian of the Open University of Sri Lanka.
Thank you all. As we move into the next segment of the book launching ceremony, we are delighted to introduce two timely and insightful publications that addresses the pressing environmental issues. So, the first book, named by Plastic Dushanaya Saha Api, authored by Ms. Takshila Naomi and Dr. Johan Mahagamage, explores the causes, impacts, and possible solutions to plastic pollution in Sri Lanka. A well-written, clear, and accessible style, it aims to raise the awareness among the general public, students, and policymakers about the urgent need to reduce the plastic waste and protect our ecosystems. So, our second book is Tedbim Saha Parisara Dushanaya by Ms. Nishadi Madhuwanti and Dr. Johan Mahagamage, highlights the ecological importance of wetlands and threats they face from the pollution and human activities. It presents the scientific insights of community-based approaches to conserving these critical ecosystems.
To officially hand over these books, I now cordially invite Dr. Johan Mahagamage and Ms. Nishadi Madhuwanti to present copies to Professor Sevandi Jayakodi, Chair Professor of the Department of Aquaculture and Fisheries, Faculty of Livestock, Fisheries and Nutrition, Vijayawada University of Sri Lanka. Senior Professor Shama Veerakon, Director of Research Unit at the Open University of Sri Lanka.
Thank you, sir. Next on our agenda is the keynote address to be delivered by Professor Sevandi Jayakodi, the Chair Professor at the Department of Aquaculture and Fisheries, Vijayawada University of Sri Lanka. Before we welcome Professor Jayakodi, I would like to invite Dr. Johan Mahagamage, the Director of Center for Environmental Studies and Sustainable Development and the Chair of this session, to share with us the biography of our distinguished speaker.
Thank you. So we are deeply honored to welcome Professor Sevandi Jayakodi as a keynote speaker at the 3rd International Conference on Mangroves for Sustainability. Professor Jayakodi is a leading expert in coastal and aquatic ecosystems and currently serves as the Chair Professor of the Department of Aquaculture and Fisheries, Vijayawada University of Sri Lanka. She has made exceptional contributions to the field of marine biodiversity, coastal governance, and wetland conservation, both nationally and internationally. Professor Jayakodi holds BSc in Zoology from the University of Kelaniya, a postgraduate diploma in Wildlife Conservation and Management from the Wildlife Institute of India, and PhD in Zoology from the University of Aberdeen, United Kingdom. Her research has focused on the intricate links between coastal ecosystems, human disturbance, environmental policy, and ecosystem restoration. She served as a chairperson of the National Mangrove Expert Committee of Sri Lanka and is a member of both the National Environmental Council and the National Blue Carbon Task Force. Her expertise has guided Sri Lanka's representation at high-level global environmental platforms such as CITES, CBD, and Commonwealth Blue Charter. Over the past decade, she has served as the Ramsar focal point for Sri Lanka, strengthening the global wetland dialogue. Beyond academia and policy, Professor Jayakodi actively collaborates with several environmental NGOs, including Wildlife and Nature Protection Society, Lanka Nature Conservationist, and Environmental Foundation Limited, promoting conservation on the ground. She has been a mentor and guide to many young researchers, including myself, having had a privilege of beginning of my research journey under her supervision. Her dedication to science, education, and conservation continues to inspire generations of scholars and practitioners in the field of sustainable coastal ecosystem management. Over to you, Madam.
So, yes, it will be easy because I'm not comfortable like this. Hello? Hello? Yeah, lovely. Yeah. Where's the pointer? You have pointer? Right, okay, I'll sort out. If you can get me a pointer, that will be great. Okay, so every time when I go to a conference, it always gives me a reminder that the great speakers have been males, not females. And they never think about females when it comes to putting these things. So, yes, Professor Kadiresan, it has been always the males, the great speakers, and I was very privileged to listen to your presentation today. And it really gave the platform for me to start speaking about what I really want to talk. Because the word conservation and the restoration are two words we always hear. But I'm here today to take you through, to think about what's the purpose. We really need to define a purpose for all the work we do. And I'm going to take you through some of the slides that will enable you to think about what this purpose should be. So I would like to do it as a dialogue where possible. This one. Lovely. And let me start with a document that will be launched in probably tomorrow at the Ramsar Conference of the Parties. It was launched unofficially at the African Summit. The Global Wetland Outlook 2025 is just out. Go to Ramsar website, you can download the document. And it contains the latest status of the wetlands of the world. But I have put in the page that talks about the executive summary of the book. And you can see of all the wetlands, executive summary starts with mangroves. And that itself gives you an idea what the world is thinking about mangroves at the moment. Why mangroves is the next important thing I think we need to talk about. So why mangroves? You can see it here, because this slide basically gives you an idea about somewhere around 1970, what were the wetland ecosystems that we had in the world. So compared to many things like marshes and other ecosystems like lakes, you are talking about mangroves, quite a small hectares, even though it's in millions, something around 17 million hectares. Yet, the executive summary have decided, the authors have decided mangroves is the photo to be added in. So from here onward, we can move forward and see what's the reason and the rationale behind it. Unfortunately, the slides are not very clear in this screen, but therefore I will move over to here so that I can see it myself at least. What you are seeing here is a very good comparison of the latest data in this particular document I just explained, which gives you an idea about the amount of mangroves that have been there, which comes to 17.13 million hectares of mangroves. But it also tells you between 1970 to today, we have lost around 2.01 hectares of mangroves. So 2.1 million hectares of mangroves have been lost worldwide. And that's a significant amount if you think we had only 17 million hectares. But losing that itself is not the reason why we talk about mangroves. You saw this in Professor Kadiresan's slides also. While all that statistics are coming up, at a very coarse level, an assessment done by the IUCN Red Listing of Ecosystems have very clearly indicated mangroves are not faring well. They are not doing well. So there must be ways in which we have to think about it, and why we have to think about mangroves in a better way, it was explained very clearly. You saw this slide also? So, compared to all other nations, yes, Sri Lanka has a reason to think about this problem critically along with India. because our mangroves are in the critically endangered category. But I must tell you, I must give you a warning here. Remember, this RLE assessment was done at a very coarse level. It was not at a fine scale, so you still have the opportunity to conduct it, repeat it at a fine scale. That's quite important to understand. Well, Johan invited me to talk about mangroves, but I decided to bring in some cows. That's basically because throughout the entire process, I'm going to look at this word cows. Who's actually looking at you? A cow, you think? Let's go forward and see. Well, why I wanted to bring a cow, the word cow can be a very misleading word, right? And throughout my presentation, I'm going to bring this cow again and again. And let's see why. Yeah. So the first cow I'm going to bring in is about cost of withering and the disparity in decision making. This is something so important for us who live in none other than in Asia, where we have a lot of developing nations. The cost of withering and the disparity in decision making is something we have to understand even before we start thinking about mangroves. Reason, I'll explain with another protocol, the Montreal Protocol, about which all of you are very well aware. Why did Montreal Protocol come into being? Because somewhere in 1985, some British Antarctic Survey scientists found there's a hole. The ozone hole was discovered. See, in 1985 it was discovered. By 1987, we have the Montreal Protocol in place. Not just that, the action was so rapid. Those who remember, you can remember how the freezing agent in your fridges were changed. And in 2023, Montreal Protocol declares as one of the most successful protocols in the world. The problem is almost solved. That's a wonderful news. To know that by 1985 the problem was identified, by 2023 the problem was solved. And if the things go as planned, by 2040 this problem will be gone. Why is it? Why is it? Because the ozone hole did not appear above Asia. It appeared above the most influential rich countries. Therefore, the problem was solved immediately. When did we start talking about climate change? That the fact is global warming is happening? Long time ago, way before that. What you are seeing here is a picture taken in 2024. This is the Arctic Sea. And if the business goes as usual, what we are expecting is after 2035, as I remember, it can happen even before that, during peak summer, Arctic will be ice-free. So why is it that there is such a big difference to take decisions? Because at the very beginning, when the climate change was detected, the problem was ours. First models that were developed indicated tropics being impacted, not the northern part of the world. So you live in a world full of cows. So it's so important to understand even before we start talking about mangroves. So what's the relationship between these two? The relationship between these two is mangroves, the benefits, the ecosystem services they create. It's all very, very clear. although they are very clear, the world has been very sluggish in taking decisions. So what you are seeing is from 2009 to 2023, the number of planetary boundaries that we are crossing. I'm really sorry that the slides are not at all clear, but if you look at it very carefully, you will see, I'll take you to the next slide, hopefully you will be able to see better, that what you are seeing is, if you look at the whole thing, apart from ocean acidification, which is here, atmospheric aerosol loading, which is here, and the stratospheric ozone depletion, everything else, we have crossed our planetary boundaries. We are not doing good. We are not doing good, not just we are not doing good, the solutions we bring in, indicating and promoting as good is also not good. Why? Because this is a depiction, each circle shows the amount of funding each country allocated for nature-based solutions. You can see in this one, countries like Asia, here it is Japan over here, and then you have Germany over there, France over here, North America over there, large amounts of funding. And a trickle of that funding comes to us too, Asia, as nature-based solutions. And most nature-based solutions we think are for the environment to solve the problem. But if actually an independent watchdog that looked into where those funding goes have very clearly indicated it's not the case. For an example, I'm not going to quote the country. This particular country X reported to UN Climate Finances that they spent 167 million for a certain country as nature-based solutions. But in reality, it was an airport constructed on the condition that all the solar put on the top of the roof of this airport, all the carbon, decarbonized values, is given back to the country that provided the loan. So dear friends, my take-home message for you is mangroves, more or less, are very much tied to what we are talking here. So you have to be very careful when dealing with mangroves, because we can easily be conned unless we are clever. While all that is happening, mangroves are slowly disappearing. You will find this map in the same global wetland outlook. You can see this is in Myanmar. You can see with the time how large chunks of mangroves are getting lost. This is a pattern, not just in Myanmar, all over the world. But there is one good news. The trend of losing, the rate of loss is slow in parts of the world, which is a good news. So as we know that the rate of loss is slowing, it's also high time to think, okay, what can we do with what is lost and what can we do with what is left? And that is where the two words come in, the conservation and the word restoration. What is ecological restoration? Professor Kadireshan very nicely explained exactly what is ecological restoration and the type of planting we should not go for. The conservation, the word conservation, is getting modified. You must already be aware, we are no more talking about protected areas. There's nothing called PAs in the vocabulary now. We are now talking about PCAs, protected and conserved areas. That's basically because the world has realized not every important location can be conserved. However, we can also with the people participation, we could go into other mechanisms. That's exactly why at this moment the countries are working for OECM, other effective area-based management measures, which hopefully will bring the people to do the conservation in a better way. So with that, the rest of the attention should be What shall we do with mangroves? This is an important question because most of the time, mangroves are eyed for a single problem. We look at mangroves in terms of erosion management. We look at mangroves in terms of carbon. You look at mangroves in terms of fisheries, but time is there now. We are already very late, but at least now we are being urged to look into the overall role of mangroves and the role that they play in providing some of the services I have mentioned here and many other numerous services we don't know. And to give you an idea about that, again, the numbers you don't see, I'm happy to share this presentation with you so that you can see the numbers. This is international, equivalent to international dollars in here, the value per hectare per year. So over here are the values extracted for mangroves from several thousand publications. Per hectare per year for the mangroves in international dollars, the value is 13,485 down here. What it really says is, when you look at all these different services from the food to all the other cultural and regulatory services, mangroves play a vital role. And therefore, it's so important that we think about all these services when we think about conservation. And that's exactly why, if we need to bring in a purpose for mangrove conservation, we have to look at what can we do at the global level. And that's exactly where things like the Kunming-Montreal Biodiversity Framework going to matter. Especially the 4 goals under which goal 1 being very important, protect and restore. How do we do realistic, impactful conservation and restoration? And in order to do that, we also want to look at what's been lost. Now the latest Outlook has done a calculation. The calculation is here. From 1970, we have lost 2 point some mangroves. The target 2 of Kunming-Montreal Biodiversity Framework says, let's restore 30% by 2030. That means 0.6 million hectares of mangroves got to be restored. We'd been told for the mangroves, 15.1 million remaining areas are mangroves. Target 3 of Kunming-Montreal Biodiversity says, conserve 30% of the ecosystem. So for mangroves, you are talking about 4.5 million hectares of mangroves. Will the world do this? Will the world achieve these targets? This is what you as scientists should focus on. This is what you have to deliver. If you really need a purpose for conservation and restoration, the mathematics have been done. Now, how do you deliver it? That's exactly the big question we have to work on. Why? When it comes to conservation, it's about how do you think about the protected areas and OECMs, participatory conservation. When it comes to restoration, ecological restoration is not rocket science anymore. We know it. Back in India, in Sri Lanka, we are practicing it daily. So as the pictures speak, if you know what is scientific restoration, as Professor Kadiresan said, exactly if you know what was degraded, all these photos are from Pubudugama Anavilundawa here in Sri Lanka, you can do anything. This is a Salton as well as a abandoned shrimp farm, multiple uses, used and left aside. This same place, this is exactly what it looks today. That means we worked out the formula to convert such disturbed areas back to mangroves. And we have also worked out it in such a way that it's not just the plants, it's also the entire ecosystem with the species, the fauna coming in, so that you are creating the ecosystem. So we know how to do it. And in doing it for different areas, as Professor Kadiresan was talking about, permit canals, straight canals, you are practicing it in Sri Lanka. And such practices have also told us about nursing plants. So we look at Rhizopora as a nursing plant, a plant that enables, stimulates others to come and settle. So we are excited about not the Rhizopora we are planting, but the Avicennia that comes naturally. That's why we call it accelerated natural regeneration of mangroves. That's what the model we are doing. So the whole point I want to bring in here is we know the method. Therefore, conservation and restoration is not rocket science anymore. So how do we deliver this? Is the world ready to restore 0.6 million hectares of mangroves and protect 4 million hectares of mangroves? Well, we can. How do we do that? That is where national level action that couples with the international commitments matter. Ministry of Environment is about to start the discussions and the work in relation to the next NBSAP, National Biodiversity Strategic Action Plan, which, if it was, I hope it's not made until 2030. I hope it will be, because by 2030, we have to deliver. So if we come up with the NBSAP, that will not be like this. The problem with most of our documents, not just in Sri Lanka, globally, is we make documents with flowery language. They are beautiful documents, lots of interesting things, but they are fragmented frameworks. We need to make sure to avoid such loopholes and go for an NBSAP that will help us to deliver such targets for mangroves and everything. Otherwise, you are talking about a document like a tiger without tooth and claws. It can't bite. Every country now is a now or never situation where you have to do these documents. Not just do that, you have to engage youth. Youth that is empowered, youth that is logical, youth that have the critical thing, but also youth with strong personalities. Because working with areas like mangroves and blue carbon ecosystems, you need to be strong. And there is no gender segregation when it comes to that. Anyone can work, and that's the message that the universities got to deliver. And that's going to be quite important. Same respect got to be given to the community. Flip the coin. We have to think of the day, and we have to dream of the day where we don't walk to the community to give the solution. They come to us to give the solutions. Empower them for that. And that's exactly how we can make a change. And I'm bringing my last cow now. Sorry, Johan, it's not about mangroves. It's a day about cows today. But there is a reason. This cow that I'm going to bring in now, I'll be bringing 3 cows. And they are my favorite cows. To do all these things, I always expect 3 things. And I brought that 3 slides to you because I enjoy doing it. And I know most of you enjoy doing it. I know all of you. And let's spread this message. What's our first cow? Let's conserve our wetlands. Wetlands of all the ecosystems are the most important. Mangroves are one type of wetland. And always remember, mangroves are a part of a connected array of wetlands. So let's conserve mangroves and also the wetlands. That's our first cow. Conserve the wild. That is not just your charismatic species. This dung beetle here and this dung ball is a part of this ecosystem. So look at from the minute species to the mega species and conserve the wild. And most importantly, converse with the wild. Of all of you, we are the privileged ones to go out there and to be with that ecosystem. Just don't do your research and come. Take a moment to live in that environment and to feel it. And the moment you start feeling it, you understand you are a part of it. Unless you know that you are a part of this ecosystem, you don't have a purpose to conserve it and to restore it. So my 3 cows are those 3 cows. So sorry for bringing 3 cows to this distinguished panel, but for me, they are very important cows. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, dear madam, for that powerful and inspiring presentation, a strong reminder that excellence knows no gender. We now move on to the next item of our agenda, presenting token of appreciation. As a gesture of our heartfelt gratitude, we would like to present tokens of appreciation to our distinguished guests in recognition of their valuable presence and contributions to today's event. To begin the presentation of token of appreciation, I now invite Senior Professor S. Bijoy Nandan to kindly do the honors for the conference chairs. For this, I would like to warmly invite the following distinguished individuals to the stage. Honorary Professor Kathiresan Kandasamy from the Center of Advanced Study in Marine Biology, Annamala University, India. Professor Roshan Pereira, Conference Chair from the Department of Botany, Open University of Sri Lanka. Dr. Johan Mahagamage, the Director of the Center for Environmental Studies and Sustainable Development.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, I cordially invite Honorary Professor Kathiresan Kandasamy from the Center of Advanced Study in Marine Biology, Annamala University, India, to kindly present the next token of appreciations to the following secretaries: Dr. Buddhika Maduraperuma, the Conference Secretary from the Department of Botany; Dr. Sandun Bandara, the Conference Secretary from the Department of Zoology.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to invite Dr. Johan Magamage, the Director of the Center for Environmental Studies and Sustainable Development, to kindly present the token of appreciation to the keynote speaker, Honorary Professor Kathiresan Kandasamy from the Center of Advanced Study in Marine Biology, Annamala University, India.
Thank you, sir. Finally, I would like to invite Professor Roshan Pereira, the Conference Chair from the Department of Botany, Open University of Sri Lanka, to kindly present the token of appreciation to the keynote speaker, Professor Sewanthi Jayakodi, the Chair Professor at the Department of Aquaculture and Fisheries, Wayamba University of Sri Lanka.
Thank you, sir. To conclude today's proceedings, I kindly invite Dr. Buddhika Maduraperuma, Conference Secretary from the Department of Botany, Faculty of Natural Sciences, Open University of Sri Lanka, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Honorable Chief Guest, Guest of Honor, distinguished speakers, participants, ladies and gentlemen, it is my great honor and privilege as a conference secretary of ICMS 2025 to deliver the vote of thanks at the conclusions of the inauguration session. First of all, I extend my deepest gratitude to our chief guest, Senior Professor PMC Tilakaratne, the Vice Chancellor of the Open University of Sri Lanka, for your valuable support in organizing this event. Your leadership and vision added tremendous values to the commencement of this conference. My heartfelt thanks also goes to our guest of honor, Professors Bijo Nandan from the Department of Marine Biology, Microbiology and Biochemistry, School of Marine Sciences, Cochin University of Science and Technology, India. Your extreme presence today has truly honored us, and your insightful remarks have added great value and insight to these occasions. I extend my sincere thanks to Honorary Professor Kathiresan Kandasamy, Conference Chair, and our esteemed keynote speaker for your insightful presentations and for honoring us with extreme presence today. Thank you, sir. I also sincere thanks Professor Sewandi Jayakodi, our distinguished keynote speaker, for your informative address. Your expertise and commitment to sustainable development and environmental management have greatly contributed to the depth and reach of this conference. We are truly honored by your valuable participation despite your busy schedule, madam. We sincerely gratitude goes to Dr. Amaralal, Deputy Director General, Research and Development of the National Aquatic Resources Research and Development Agency, for your inspiring remarks. We are very much grateful to Senior Professor S.R. Veerakorn, Director of Research at the Open University of Sri Lanka, for your invaluable guidance, support, and active involvement throughout the planning and organizing of this conference. I express my deepest gratitude to Dr. Johan Mahagamage, Director of CESSD and Conference Chair, for his exceptional leadership and tireless effort in successfully organizing the International Conference on Mangroves for Sustainability for the third time. Despite numerous challenges during this difficult time, his unwavering commitment and vision have ensured the smooth organizing and high standard of this important event. Our special thanks go to Professor Banduni Atapattu, former Director of CESS, who initiated ICMS for previous conference. We sincerely appreciate your dedication and effort in making this conference success. I also acknowledge the invaluable support of Professor Roshan Pereira, the conference chair, and all the conference co-chairs for their leadership and contributions. Special thanks go to Ms. Tisari Kirthiratna, our conference coordinator, for her tireless effort in ensuring a smooth organization of this event. I gratefully acknowledge all researchers who deliver plenary talks for their valuable contributions. Your insightful presentations have significantly enriched the academic quality and impact of the conference. I sincerely thank all session chairs and co-chairs for their valuable support in moderating the sessions, guiding discussions, and ensuring smooth and timely proceedings. Special thanks to all presenting authors and co-authors joining from across Sri Lanka and around the world. Your rigorous research and innovative ideas have been essential in shaping the core of this conference. I extend my sincere gratitude to all reviewers for their constructive evaluations of the submitted abstract. Your efforts were crucial in maintaining the academic quality of the conference. With your support, we are proud to publish 86 abstracts in the official ICMS 2025 proceedings. I also extend our heartfelt thanks to the subject editors and language editors for their meticulous work in enhancing the quality of this abstract. We sincere thanks to the CESS staff for their tireless work in compiling the conference book and facilitating the efficient management of this event. My sincere gratitude goes to Director Sethmi and the media team for their excellent coverage and support, ensuring that this event reach an audience. We are equally grateful to the Director IT and team for providing essential technical support. I sincerely appreciate the dedicated efforts of the printers and press OUSL for their efficiency in producing a quality conference proceeding book on time. Let me also recognize with gratitude the support of the technical collaborators, including MS Swaminathan Research Foundation India and the National Aquatic Resource Research and Development Agency, Sri Lanka. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to all generous sponsors, namely Lakdanavi Limited, Image Foundation, Varun Beverages, Iola Private Limited, IUCN with CFCR, Lanka Mangrove Museum, Commercial Bank, Avon Palmochem Private Limited, Hemsons International Private Limited, whose supports have been vital in making this conference possible. I would like to thank Assistant Director of CRC for coordinating and providing essential facilities at the university for the successfully conducted this event. Special thanks go to the Mangrove Museum for organizing the insightful field visits and the post-conference workshop. We warmly thank the talented dancing team for their vibrant performance. Our sincere appreciations goes to the Waters Edge Hotel for providing an excellent venue and facilities, creating a comfortable and professional environment for all attendees. Finally, my heartfelt thanks goes to wonderful compeers who guided today's proceedings with professionalism and grace. To all those who contributed, both on stage and behind the scenes, your hard work, dedications, and enthusiasm have been instrumental in making this event truly fruitful. We deeply appreciate your effort made to bring the third International Conference on Mangroves for Sustainability, ICMS 2025, a success. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words of appreciation. With that, we formally conclude the inauguration ceremony of the third International Conference on Mangroves for Sustainability, ICMS 2025. Let us remember, this is not an end, but the beginning of an exciting and impactful journey. Over the next few days, we hope you will have a rewarding experience filled with learning, networking, and inspiration. We extend our heartfelt thanks to all our speakers, dignitaries, participants. Your presence and support have made this event truly meaningful. A special thank goes to organizing team for their dedication and efforts behind the scenes. As we close today's program, we wish you a safe journey and a pleasant evening. Thank you once again, and we look forward to welcome you all at our upcoming sessions. Have a nice day.